Right, if I could just start by saying there have been studies that are looking at the gaps for voc rehab relative to working with people with psychiatric conditions. And I'm going to refer to folks with psychiatric conditions as individuals that have severe persistent mental illness. Now we're talking about 3 major disorders, major diagnoses in the Axis 1, but there are lots of people with severe persistent mental illness who also might be other diagnoses that have similar kinds of challenges for or present similar challenges for voc rehab counselors. And one of the complicating issues is that there's a high incidence of co-occurring substance use, and substance use disorders is around 80%, so that's an issue. And we need to think about it for this particular group. Also, VR counselors, when they've been surveyed, have said that they're poorly prepared to work with people with psychiatric conditions, and this has been evident in some of the curriculum that they get in their pre-service training at the graduate level. There's also been a long-standing push to infuse more psychiatric rehab practice for voc rehab counselors, and so that's part of the incentive for us to provide this kind of training here today. But this is a pretty long-standing argument in the rehab counseling field. Also, the population of people with psychiatric conditions, their participation in vocational rehabilitation services has also been deterred because of the belief, often false beliefs, that it's going to be very costly to help them to find work. We also find that when we look at the data, that it's actually less for people with psychiatric conditions. So some of the studies that have been done, especially Rob Chimera has done a couple of studies on the cost benefit, and compared to the overall VR client population, it costs less for most of the people with psychiatric conditions than it does for the general population in VR. The interesting thing is people with schizophrenia have a higher rate of successful employment, and this was looked at through the this period of time, 2002 to 2006, across the country in voc rehab services. The difficulty is that it costs more for people with schizophrenia because of the types of jobs that we end up placing them in. So even though they have a higher rate, a success rate of employment, we find that they aren't earning a lot of money, so the cost benefit is not really good.